Hello, and I'm so excited that you let me put my face back into your place. So listen, I need to tell you a little bit about the video that's coming up. Are you ready? Hold on, wait for it. Yeah, a little bit of a channel identification thing, if you will. So I want to tell you a little bit about these videos because the truth is that I have made tons of videos over the years, and some of these have some really good content. And so I wanted to share them with you, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about them so that you would be kind in the comments and not ask me things like, well, why are you talking to people in the video, et cetera, et cetera. However, if you're in the vicinity of the comments section, now would be a great time for you to tap that subscription button and tap that bell so you'll know when I'm putting out fresh content. But like I was saying, some of these videos have been shared with my Facebook group. Some of them have been shared with clients. Some of them have been shared with programs, and I want you to have them. So do not rip me apart and say, Stephanie, you're giving us bootleg videos. No, I am not. I'm giving you videos with good quality content that may or may not have been previously viewed. Okay, now let's go.
Hello, hello, hello. Well, got it together. How are you guys? Come on in, come on in. And we're about to do a little sharing, not just sharing on the interwebs, but sharing amongst ourselves on this particular topic. Just give me one whole second to get this party started, and that will be awesome. You know, I have to say that a certain platform does make things a little different when you're trying to do things quickly. It's like, no, about that. You don't get to do this quickly. All right, so I got to push some buttons and I got that working. I'm so excited. So now I get to hop on over. And hopefully I can see your comments, your questions, your concerns, all of that good stuff that matters to me. So this is my third video of the day. And so I decided I would shake things up a bit, grab a head wrap, change glasses. I'm like, why not? It's Saturday. This is what I intended to do today. So I am perfectly excited to be here with you all on my third video. Yes, my third video. I have decided that I'm going to take the content that I use all the time and make that available in the form of a digital/online university. And so because of that, and I can't say that's my brilliant idea, that was the brilliancy of my business coach. So shout out to Dave Anderson. And so I want to make sure that I have some good content for you guys. And wound-worthy relationships is a good one. It is a good one. And it's something that I talk about often. So like I said, I wanted to make sure that I was sharing that with you guys, that I'm present and that I have some good feedback. And like I said, please save your questions till the end. I'll be looking at them, and I just need to make sure that I can see comments, because for some reason the book doesn't always like to cooperate. So we're going to try to get the book to cooperate just a little bit. Come on, cooperate. All right, so if you can, drop me a comment. Let me know that it's real. Show some emoji love, and we'll get this party started. Who's ready? I'm ready. Okay, so let's talk about this thing, okay? So what is a wound-worthy relationship? Well, honestly, this is a topic that comes up a lot for me. In the work that I do. And for those of you who have no idea who I am, my name is Stephanie D. McKenzie, and I am the lead coach at the firms, which include, you guessed it, the relationship firm as well as the healing firm. And so many times, you know, it's so interesting that I have two different practices because they actually do overlap. You know, relationships, healing, health, wholeness, it's all about living that whole and abundant life. So that being said, I don't know why I have two practices. Oh, I know why. Because consumers would get very, very confused if I had relationship that also does healing firm. So nevertheless, let's talk about this, because I want to help you define this. I want to help you look at this thing, put things into proper perspective, take the actions that you need if actions are needed. So you're probably wondering, what's a wound-worthy relationship? What is a wound-worthy relationship? Well, like I said, it's something that comes up for me a lot, especially with the work that I do, especially around relationships. And a question that I often ask in a session is this a wound-worthy relationship? And my client will look at me and they'll say, what's that? I said, I'm so glad that you would ask me that. A wound-worthy relationship is a relationship that mirrors our woundings and not our healings. Wow, did you just use the word to define that? I sure did, and you're not supposed to do that, but I did it anyway. So it's a relationship that mirrors our woundings. First of all, let's start with the mirror. Let's dig into the mirror really quickly, because however you got here, if you're checking this thing out live, if you're catching it because you enrolled in a digital university, or you're a VIP client that I said, go look at the Wound-Worthy class, the Wound-Worthy video, and there's a reason that you're here. And so one of the things that I want you to take away from this, if you take away nothing else, is that relationships are our mirrors, always. Always our mirrors. So anytime, especially when we're having a challenge with somebody, then that's the opportunity for us to look at ourselves and be like, okay, self, and self say, what is this on my jacket? Have no idea. Whatever. Self says, and you say, okay, so what is it that this person does that I can see in myself? What is it that I see? Because it's not just he or she is being whatever. It's not just that. You know, whatever the complaint is, can you turn that around, turn it inward, and be like, okay, well, how does this apply to me? But we'll get more into that, because so many times, and let me be the first one to say, I did this. I came out of a 10-year relationship and went into one of the most dysfunctional relationships in my entire relationship history because I didn't take the time to heal. Now, let's be clear about something. Everybody's healing process is different. So people that want to tell you, oh, you need to wait 6 months before your next relationship. Oh, you need to wait, Foolishness. There's no qualitative time for healing. It's no different than if I cut you and you cut me. I may heal faster, you may heal faster. We got cut at the exact same time. Everybody is different. That's why some people recover from a thing and then some people never recover from a thing, or they recover differently, or it took them longer. So let's stop with the qualitative, dogmatic outlook that, oh, well, they need 6 months. No, honestly, you can move on to your next relationship when you understand the lessons that the previous relationship was trying to give you. If you're still talking about she did, he did, they did, we did, whatever, if you're still in the blame game, then you're not ready to move on. If you're still in the angry game, if you're still an angry bird about the whole thing, then it's not for you to move on. Now, if you want to have a rebound, feel free. That is not what this class is about. I don't know who that was for, but okay. So, but again, there's no qualitative healing time. 6 months, a year. I mean, okay. But here's the challenge. Relationships are our mirrors. So we're going to get into that, and I want you to take that in. If you're taking notes, which you should be, especially if you're one of my clients, because you know I believe in taking notes. Notes are necessary, as are phone chargers. Y'all, I tell you, this phone just doesn't want to stay charged. I think because I'm working it to death. It's like, nope, not here for it. Not here for it. Nope, nada. So, but relationships are our mirrors. That's what we have to be very clear about. Relationships are our mirrors. So that means that it's not just it is what it is. It's an opportunity for us to learn. And so if we take those opportunities to learn, then guess what? We don't have to repeat the lesson. So for those of you who are saying, I've been with the same person over and over, I seem to have the same problem over and over, all that tells me that you're hard-headed. I'm just going to be honest with you. You're hard-headed. You don't learn your lessons. You probably play the blame game. And then you move on because somebody told you that was the best way to deal with any kind of relationship angst, is that you move on, but you never got the lesson. So literally it's like somebody keeps passing you grade to grade to grade, and you're getting to the 12th grade with a 2nd grade education because that's the last time you decided you would learn. From that point on, everything else was somebody else's fault. And so taking responsibility is a huge part of relational maturity. Again, that's not what this is about, but you know what? Maybe that is what this is about. All right, so in the mirroring, That's the opportunity that we see ourselves in another person. You're probably going, now what just happened here? Well, okay, let me help you out. Let me help you out. All right. So your complaint, remember I just said, whatever your complaint is, can you parallel that with your treatment of yourself? What? I know. Give me a second. So let's say, for example, you're with someone and you say, they don't treat me as if I'm a priority. Okay. Do you treat yourself as a priority? I'll let you ponder that for a minute. Because often what our complaint is an opportunity for us to turn inward and look at how we treat ourselves, because inevitably when we are still wounded, and we heal so we can get to the point of scarring, because what do I always say? Wounds yell, scars tell. So if you're in a wounded part of your life and you find yourself constantly yelling and demanding certain treatment that you're not getting, turn it inward and figure out, are you giving yourself that treatment? Are you making yourself a priority? Are you acting like you don't care about you? Are you being reckless with how you care for yourself? Because we will always attract what we are, sort of, most times. I hate terms like always and all, because sweeping generalizations just don't help anything. So more often than not, we will attract what we are. We will. And then there's those times when we don't. So if you're coming on in and drop a question, a comment, let me know that you're here. Let me know that it's real. I feel like I'm falling off the screen. Let me scoot over a little bit. There we go. All right, there we go. So, okay. So the mirror is so important. So very important. And many times people don't look at the mirror. They just say, oh, well, bump this. I'll go find me somebody that'll make me a priority. No, you won't, because you haven't made you a priority. That matters. Now, by that same token, flip side, what does the late John Witherspoon say? Reverse it. Let's talk about when you find somebody in your life that treats you better than you do. And that does happen, right? Okay. And you're like, well, you just said that I'm going to attract what I am. Well, I got a few challenges to my theories here, and I always do. And I'm willing to open it up, right? So nothing with me is absolute. Even if you're a client, nothing is absolute. If it's fruitful, pick it up and eat it. If it's not, then drop it to the ground. And eat the meat, spit out the bones. You can take all, some, or none of what I say to you as your truth. It may not be your truth, or it may not be your truth in this season. So be mindful of that and use your discernment and your intuitive gifts that we all have to move this thing forward for you. So here are a few challenges to what I just said to you. All right. First of all, yes, someone can come into your life and treat you better than you treat yourself. That happens. Some people call it restorative. Some, you see it, the Boaz Ruth story. Now listen, one day I'm going to do a video on what I really feel about the Boaz Ruth story. But for now, we'll focus on worthy relationships, and I will stay focused. So, waving at everybody that came on. Hey, how you doing? So I call that an involuntary manifestation from your heart space. Say that 3 times fast. Involuntary manifestation from your heart space. Because what I honestly believe, again, this is relationships according to Steph. What I honestly believe is that we have our heart space and we have our ego. And oftentimes we're making decisions from our ego. Some people say ego, easing God out. To me, that's easing God out. If it's not God for you, you can call it easing the universe out. Whomever you easing out, okay? Whomever you're easing out is the divine part of you, your divine identity, the part of you that is connected to the divine. And so that being said, it is spirit-led. It is what some people commonly call flow. In a flow state, I do believe that some people know how they should be treated. They know how they should treat themselves, right? That's the flow state. But the flow state doesn't happen in the ego. Flow state is interrupted by ego. And so your flow is kind of like the delineation between your heart and your head. Let's just make it really simple. Your heart says one thing, your head says another. Well, a lot of people are so headstrong, that's where the term comes from. They're so headstrong that the ego is driving the bus. And I've told you this repeatedly. Anytime you let anything but your divine identity, divine instruction, divine wisdom drive your bus, it's going to drive it over a cliff, into a ravine, explode upon impact, and you're going to burn alive inside. Gosh, that's morbid, Stephanie. But you get the point. So ego is driving the bus for a lot of people, but in their heart space, they know how they should be treated. They know that they deserve more. They have all these knowings, right? But they just haven't taken the time to align the head and the heart. Now, I know people will tell you, when you're in alignment, that's the only time that certain things happen. Well, again, I'm pushing on a few things right now because alignment is a relative term. When I am out of alignment, like when I'm focusing on my ego and I'm being very headstrong, being very heady, then do I still get divine downloads? Yeah. Do blessings stop flowing just because I'm in my head? No. But do I get the kind of divine downloads that I get when I say, you know what, ego, sit down, have a seat over there, have several seats, and let me drop into my heart space. Let me drop into flow. Let me drop into a state of peace. Let me drop into being divinely led, having divine wisdom, divine instruction. There's a difference there. The divine downloads are much stronger. They're much more detailed oftentimes. They are fairly powerful. Like they are paradigm shifting downloads. And so when I'm out of alignment, my downloads don't stop. It's just the kind of downloads I get, the quality of the download that I get is different. Okay, so I believe that there are people who know in their heart of hearts that there is something they don't have, but they should have it. They may not have been able to push that into a space of consistent flow where their ego has been kind of shut down, where ego is the exception and not the rule. But they do know. And I think when that happens, again, this is what I think. This is wound-worthy relationships, according to Stephanie. I think when that happens, you inadvertently, involuntarily manifest. I do. I actually have evidence, but I'm not going to tell people's business, so I'm just going to let that go. But if you've ever wondered, gosh, why is this person here? You more than likely did an involuntary manifestation from your heart space. You are strong and you are powerful. I keep trying to explain to this. And so, I want to, my work is all about activating your superpowers. All about that. Like, I want you to be your own superhero. That matters to me. And in order for that to happen, we got to get rid of some of these blocks, because usually there's a block right about here. Oh, look, that's a throat chakra. Look at it. There it goes. So there's a block. And when we have blocks in our mind, in our spirit, in our body, whatever blocks that we have, they stop us from getting in our own way, but they stop us from getting out of our own way, but they don't always stop us from manifesting what we want, need, desire, and deserve. Just being honest. That's just my thought. Let me know what y'all think about that. Okay, so the other side of that, again, reversing it, is that you're being love bombed. Honestly. And I'm going to let that process, because it is definitely a juxtaposition. And what I don't want to do is cultivate. So I just want you to write down love bomb, okay? But I don't want to cultivate fear in your heart, so that if someone begins to treat you well, you're not like, wait a minute, what is this? What I want you to understand is, yes, sometimes it's an involuntary manifestation of your heart space. Sometimes it may be a love bomb. Here's how you know the difference. A love bomb is a tool, and it is a quick lure. And you can tell you're being lured in. If you look at the movie, oh God, what was it? Perfect. The movie with Sanaa Lathan and I believe it was Michael Ealy. Very quickly, he moved in to create relationship with her and to make her think she was the only one and all of this. But there's an inherent demand that the affection, the attention, the emotion be returned almost immediately. Almost immediately. So literally, it's like they're putting money in a Coke machine and they're pushing the button like this. And they want the button, they want whatever, come out, like come out. They're not waiting for the money to actually, and some people very rarely put money in a vending machine, but they're not waiting for the card to get scanned. They're not waiting for anything. They're putting that currency, whatever it is, in. They're pushing that button ravenously, and they want that product to pop right out. That's how you know the difference between someone being sincere in their care for you and somebody love bombing you. How do you know this, Stephanie? I know this because I talk to people who have been in narcissistic relationships. Love bomb is a tool of a narcissist. They want to get you lured in and locked down immediately. Lured in and locked down. Lured in. So you feel like you're being lured in, like if you feel like you're a child that's being offered candy. Hey, little girl, you want some candy? Okay. Sit back for a minute. Sit back. And see what happens when you don't return that favor immediately. When you don't return that same energy immediately, what happens? And if you do that early enough in the game, if you stay alert in your relationships long enough, and this is why I tell people, you know, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, please consider waiting to have sex. And I'm not trying to be a prude or whatever. We can definitely have that conversation as to why I feel that way, is because if you want more from the relationship than sex, you're going to be hard pressed to get it. Because once we have sex, and if it's good sex, you're probably going to want some more of that. That's when your guards come down. All these chemicals release physiologically into your body. You feel like, oh my God, feels so amazing. Everything feels amazing, which means you pretty much lose your ability to be objective. Now, if all you want to do is smash and dash, yes, I said that. If you want to smash and dash, that's on you. But don't try to smash because you're trying to put your dividends in for later. Do your homework. That's all I'm saying is do your homework. And so I want to give you the tools. I want you to be encouraged by the fact that yes, in your life, you can come across somebody that will treat you better than you've been treated ever. And to that end, your job now becomes figure out the reason. Is this an involuntary manifestation of your heart space? If it is, bravo. And if it is, think about what you can do when you get to the point where you align in such a way that you can create voluntary manifestations and then volatile manifestations. Why is it volatile? Because it combusts. It's immediate. It's spontaneous. It's explosive. It's amazing. It shifts axes and paradigms and transforms the world. So there's levels to this. I think I've said that like 6 times today. There's levels to this. And so again, if it's an involuntary manifestation of your heart space, bravo. Because what you won't feel is the need to reciprocate on demand. If it's a love bomb, I do believe that you will. So just be mindful. This is where your intuition, when you're dealing with relationships, this is where your intuition becomes so necessary. Because I don't care if they make 6 figures, drive a Benz, got a house on the hill and a boat on a lake. Listen, if that person is not feeling right to you, there's a reason for that. Stop letting people mind screw you out of your reality by saying, oh, well, they're such a good woman. Oh, well, they're such a good man. So what? So what? I always make the camera bounce. It's like I got hydraulics. But you know, so what? So what if they're good? So what if they have this stuff? And if something peaks in your spidey senses about somebody and you can't quite put a finger on it, you do have the option to say, you know what, I just don't want to do this. I don't want to do it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to explain it. That's how powerful you are, that you can declare and decree a thing and it shall be established. So if you declare and decree, I want to do this, then guess what? You don't have to. Look at you. Look at you. And so if you're, like I said, if you've been assigned this class, this video, this whatever you want to call it, this learning experience, if you've been assigned this because you're a client or you're enrolled in the Sozo Institute, which is what I'm currently calling the Digital University. Hopefully the name will stick and I won't change it. But if it doesn't, hey, whatever, you know, life is fluid. Then I want to impress upon you the need to stay aware. You know, my mother always sends me messages and at the end of them, she always says, stay alert, stay alert, stay alert, stay alert. And I'm like, okay. And it would be a really long time. I'd probably be in my late 20s, early 30s, maybe even mid 30s before I really realized what she was talking about. You know, just stay alert. Don't fall so deeply into anything that you're not alert, you're not aware of what's going on. So again, yes. And if somebody's treating you, now, the late great Maya Angelou would say, when someone shows you who they are, the first time, you know, believe them. Believe them. Okay? That's good or bad. I think we always say it to mean bad things, but if someone shows you that they're good, that they're kind-hearted, that they have the capabilities of caring, somebody tells you that they're ready to be in a committed relationship, believe them. About that same token, if someone tells you that they're not ready, believe that too. But let's talk about the good stuff that we can believe. When the audio and the video matches, whoa, that's all you can say. But I know women as well as men who have been overwhelmed by encountering that person that treats them oh so well because it's never happened before. And some of them have almost tanked what would be amazing relationships. Thankfully, you can't take you can't tank what's yours. You can only delay. You can't deny. I don't think. Maybe. It depends. We'll leave it like that. But have come very close, you know, people I know have come very close to tanking relationships that could be the best thing that ever happened to them because they were so stuck in their head about it. So stuck in their head that they couldn't align with their heart, but periodically. And I'm like, listen. That heart and that head coming together, and then that heart, head, hands trifecta, that's a winner right there. Because when the heart and the head are in alignment, the work of the hands becomes so much more meaningful. So much more meaningful. So think about that. Think about that. All right. So what else is a wound-worthy relationship? Besides a mirror, a relationship that mirrors our woundings and not our healings, because I know I shouldn't use the word to define the word. Let's talk about this. A wound-worthy relationship can be a relationship that we pick up in dark times of our life. Now, I'm not talking about the people that come to support you. I'm talking about the people that exploit you. And that's different. Some of y'all know what that's about. Let me see if we've got any questions over here. I'm just checking in. Just checking in, saying hello, just looking at the questions. Everybody says hi. I'm like, hi, y'all. All right, so if you have questions, I can only see the relationship page, the relationship firm page. Let me see what happens if I scoot over to my page. So much fun doing videos these days. It used to be so much simpler. I could do a live, share it everywhere I wanted to go. Yeah, that's not the case anymore. That's so not the case. All right, so I'm gonna open both of these so I'll have them. And I assume that what I see on one, I see on the other. But let me tell you, it's so interesting when it's not. So I try to put every possible safeguard into place. So anyway, all right. So relationships that we pick up in dark times. And again, that goes back to being discerning about the people that come towards you at your lowest points. Because yes, absolutely, you can meet somebody in a low point of your life and it'd be amazing. Please don't ever say that I'm saying the opposite. I'm not. I'm saying that you have options just because they come during a dark time. I've heard people say things like, well, you know, I'm sticking with them because they were there for me when so-and-so died, or when I lost my job, or whatever. Listen, if somebody is declaring that they love you and care for you, they're supposed to be there when stuff runs amok. They're supposed to be there. So you don't get any kudos for being supportive and operating in partnership during a dark time, especially if you've been in a relationship for any amount of time. There's that. So, but new people, sometimes we do encounter new people when we're in dark places. And again, I'm just going to push the agenda of discernment, discerning who you need to have in your life, discerning the reasons why they come, and not getting so sucked in to what they are saying that you're not paying attention to the reality that their audio and their video don't line up. I'll be honest with you. I know somebody personally that actually started dating someone and they didn't have any teeth. They were missing teeth. Okay, they had some teeth. That being said, that same person alluded to you that they were once addicted to drugs, but you have no teeth now. Meth much? But because they started a relationship on a whirlwind, and I have nothing against whirlwind relationships, I do have a problem though when you're not paying attention to who you're having a whirlwind with. Yeah. So at the end of the day, he is a drug addict. He has never really taken rehab seriously, and now you are stuck, tethered legally to a person who doesn't take responsibility for what is going on in their life. You would know that if you had stayed alert long enough to discern what this person was actually bringing to you. And we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to sit and look and observe and judge the fruit of the trees that are trying to spring up in our garden. That's just real talk. You can't just let anything grow in your garden. Some plants don't even go together. Now, I'm not a farmer. That's another girlfriend. That's a shout out to Sweetie Consulting, who does that and deals with sovereignty and conscious living. But some plants can't even be grown together. So think about that. Think about the level of discernment it takes for you to realize, okay, I need to see this, this, and this. You can set boundaries. You can set expectations. In fact, I admonish you, I warn you that there are dire consequences when we don't set expectations. When we just let things run roughshod all over our lives, they run roughshod all over our lives. And then we look up and we're like, dang, this is quite messy. Yeah. When things run amok, that's usually the outcome. Just saying. All right. So, not only is a wound-worthy relationship a relationship that mirrors our woundings versus our healings, it is a relationship possibly that we acquired during a dark time, and it is a relationship that exploits long-lasting patterns. So this is the reason why oftentimes I'm sitting in sessions with men and women asking the question, are you in a wound-worthy relationship? Because inherently the complaints that they have about this relationship not only mirror some things that they're not doing for themselves. So it's safe to say, whatever you're complaining about your mate, significant other, friend, or whatever not doing for you, it is quite possible those are the same things that you are not doing for you. Takeaway. So now let's talk about how this relationship shows you and exploits some of your long-standing patterns. Now, let's be clear, like you got to keep it real with yourself, if no one else, that we all have patterns of behavior. I'm a reformed fixer. I'm a reformed fixer. Many of the patterns I'm about to share with you fall under the term codependent. And if you want to look up codependency, then absolutely there will be a resource for that in the class. So you can look it up and look at the patterns of when you're exhibiting codependency and when you're in recovery, what that looks like. For me, I have developed the uncanny ability to say something and not care. In my past, I've been tethered to the outcome. Like, you need to do this, and if you don't do it, then there's that, you know. And that's like, listen, if you ask me for my advice, I'll give it to you. If you don't take it, okay. Kanye shrug, like, because it doesn't impact my life one way or the other. And I think that coaching really drove that point home for me, because when I first started coaching, I was a sponge. I was an absolute sponge, y'all. I would take in everything that the clients would dump on me and share with me. And in the beginning, I had a lot of clients that would dump. They had really heavy things going on, and they would dump. Because I hadn't learned how to create healthy boundaries. Now I have, and by that same token, I've learned not to be a sponge. So I can sit in sessions and not take ownership of the issues that are being brought to me. And that's a skill. Sometimes you have to teach yourself that by releasing patterns of codependence. So here's some of the patterns, and there's more than this, but for the sake of brevity, I'm just going to give you these 4. The first pattern is fixing. So if you're with somebody and you feel the need to fix them, they need to be fixed. That could be a wound-worthy relationship. Period. Now, I'm not saying assist, because in relationship, and so this is where the fine line comes in, right? Because in relationship, sometimes we do assist our significant other. You know, we do give them advice, we do discuss matters, and we come to a team solution. But if you're fixing it for them, or you feel the need to fix them, you know, that whole potential thing. Somebody wrote something so profound about potential. I need to share that with you all, because I often say that potential is literally like keys in my hand. My car keys have the potential to start my car. Only if I get in it, only if I put my foot on the brake, only if I push that button that says start. So otherwise, what do I have? Some keys. Oh, look, I bumped the table again. Look, now I'm bouncy again. Bouncy, 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 bouncy. Don't you love that? I'm not editing that out, so enjoy the bounce. So that was for me to see if you were awake. Are you awake? You awake out there? Y'all awake? All right, so fixing is a thing. And people that, if you want to fix things, that's definitely something that's showing some wounding right there. There it is, earthquake. I'm bouncing, y'all. I'm bouncing. You know, there's a delay, so I get to see it twice. I get to be in 2 places at once. So, all right, then here comes the pattern, which is mothering. Now, here's the stephism for the day. You can be as mother or as lover, but you can't be both. How do you know if you're mothering? Great question. You are mothering, I feel, when you're treating your significant other as if they are a child. When you're trying to make things easier for them. When you do not allow them to experience natural consequences of their life. Now, you may be upset about some of the things that they do, and you're just like, ugh. But when you're chiding, prodding, and cajoling an adult to do things that they should know to do, and fathering is the same thing. So for those of you that, you know, like to tell people what to do and punish them when they don't do it, this is you. This is you. Okay? Because yes, when you're with somebody, they're inevitably going to do things that annoy you. Duh. But then the challenge comes in with you taking those annoyances and either scolding them, because how many of you know adults don't like to be scolded? Just a thing. Exacting punishment on them, or telling them what they got to do. Now, let me caveat that and say, some of you are with people that love to be mothered and fathered. Some of you are with people that love that. And if you love to be that and that works for you all, then bravo. But please know that's not going to be functional long term, probably. At some point, if the person who is being mothered or fathered decides that they don't want to be mothered or fathered anymore, and that's a huge part of your identity, because again, that's birthed out of a wound. It's not birthed out of a healing place. That relationship will more than likely fall apart. So there's a reason why you like being mothered and fathered, and there's a reason why you like mothering and fathering. What I see oftentimes in that is that people will choose somebody, they'll choose a fixer-upper so that they can mother and father them. You're kidding, Stephanie. Nobody does that intentionally. I don't know. Maybe it's subconscious, but I do think it's done. I do indeed think that it's done. So, let's see what we got over here. I'm checking the questions again. Okay, good, good. All right, so we're moving. Y'all are awfully quiet. I wish y'all could like post a question or something. Like any question. Like, is this resonating? Can you reflect on a time when, based on this information, you felt like you were in a wound-worthy relationship? Like, give me something. Give me something. All right. So, but we're going to keep moving on. The last pattern is enabling. Enabling. This for me, enabling is a difficult one, because many times it can be about supporting dysfunctional behavior, making room for dysfunctional behavior, and or detrimental behavior at that. And we see the enabling dynamic a lot when you look at addiction narrative, enabling. In fact, that's where the codependency paradigms first came out, was in the construct around living with addiction or loving somebody that is dealing with an addiction. I don't want to say suffering. So that is dealing with addiction. So a lot of times enabling is making room for dysfunction. Again, that's my definition. Where you're just making room for it. You're allowing this. You're not setting any kind of healthy boundaries. You're not saying, okay, like, I don't want to be in a relationship like this. You feel as if you have to make room for the dysfunction. Well, here's the thing. If someone you're with is struggling with something, yes, you can support their desire to change, but if that person is not taking responsibility for their own role in the situation, then you're just an enabler. If they're a drug addict, you might as well go get the drugs for them. I mean, just being honest. Change position, new position, new position. But the good news is, y'all drop me some emojis or something. Let me know that you're here. Holla. But the good news is that these relationships, are not doomed. They don't have to be terminal. What? Everybody's ears prick up. What? What do you mean? Well, the value of a wound-worthy relationship usually comes in 4 ways, right? It's here to teach us, to hurt us, to turn us, and to heal us. So let me say that again. The value of wound-worthy relationships in our lives is 4 ways, right? 4 things. To teach us, to hurt us, to turn us, and to heal us. So what does that actually mean? So first of all, they're there to teach us. And what that may mean is that we're there to learn from them, but the relationship is not meant to last. And so people say things about dysfunctional relationships like, oh, it didn't work out. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, it didn't work. Yeah, it did. It worked. It did exactly the work that it was supposed to do. And that was to teach you, right? It was to teach you some things that maybe you didn't even know about yourself. And that's so important. So it was there to teach you. The mirroring, the reflection, even in your anger, you learn some things about yourself. In fact, you may have even learned what you actually want from a relationship, courtesy of this relationship. Because at the end of the day, that relationship is going to hurt you. There's a lot of hurt that comes in wound-worthy relationships. It's a constant tug of war. Somebody wants their agenda. Somebody else wants their agenda. There's not enough. Often there's not enough, and I'm giving caveats for a reason. Often there's not enough healing between the two people that the we quotient can be established and take priority. So it's her and him, or him and him, or whatever, or she and she. It's whatever. So the two people are just pulling. And so there's a lot of hurt that comes with a wound-worthy relationship. It just has to be said. And so then what's the next one? Let's see. Are y'all paying attention? Let's see. Turn us. Turn us how? Well, listen, at the end of the day, anything that you go through is designed to make you bitter. No, it's designed to make you better, but not bitter. Did I tell y'all this is my third video today? Okay, great. So it's designed to make you better, but not bitter. But what it really needs to do is turn us inward. You know, I talk about that all the time, turning inward, realizing our own truth, what is required, what is necessary, what is being said, what is not being said. These are very real things, right? Super, super real things. And when we don't do it, we just continue to attract in the same people because they're showing you something. They're showing you something. They're showing you who you are, who you aren't, who you could be. Some of you haven't even maximized your potential because you're with people who are basic. Now, if you want to be basic and you have a basic partner, bravo, basicness rules. But if you are striving for greatness and you attach yourself to someone who is okay with basic, y'all gonna butt heads. Because they're not going to understand why you want what you want, and at some point you're not going to understand why they don't want what you want. And so at the end of the day, that's where the hurt comes in. Again, two different agendas coming in here. And so it hurts us, it turns us inward so that we can determine our expectations, so we can determine where we should actually put our energy and our effort. Where should we put our time, talent, and treasure? These are real questions. What do we want? So we can move from that involuntary manifestation within our heart space to voluntary manifestations of our heart space. And then, what did I say? Volatile. Yes, volatile, where it's just combustible, it's exploding, it's amazing. And you're just like, whoa. Like literally, you look like the little emoji with the atomic bomb cloud coming off the head, like, whoosh. And so these wound-worthy relationships have value. To teach us, to hurt us, to turn us, and then to heal us. To heal us. Because ultimately, when we're striving for healing, healing has to precipitate transformation. What am I going to say next? Because transformation without healing is a recipe for regression. That is what I say all of the time. Write it down. Go ahead, write it down. Right. I'll give you a minute. Get my pages together. So like I said, at the end of the day, wound-worthy relationships do work out. They're just possibly not worthy of long-term commitment without shifts. That's why you've been using can, may, possibly. Yeah, that's why. Because there's no absolutes here. There's no absolutes here. As I've told couples, like, listen, I'm not saying that the two of you being together can't work. What I'm saying is that it can't last like this. You can only get so much out of it like this. And so then we move into the construct around shifts. So again, I'm impressing upon you the need for you to be discerning and intuitive as you're going through your relationship journey, whatever that may be. Because then you will know inherently what is going on in this relationship. You've already had enough pain. You've already had, enough tears. You've already had enough frustration. You've already called your girlfriend 87 times. You already hung out with the fellas last week. What are we going to do differently? Or can we make some shifts? Which is the first question that we have to ask. Actually, it's the second, because the first thing we have to do, if we're thinking about, wound-worthy relationship could shift. Okay. First thing we have to do is acknowledge that it's wound-worthy. Acknowledge it. Can't hide that anymore. Stop saying everybody has problems. Stop saying that, relationships are work. I've told you before, you've been lied to. Relationships are not work. They require effort, intentional effort. Any relationship that you have to make work does not work. Thank you. So that's another video. So first things first, if you think you're in a wound-worthy relationship, if you think you've acquired a wound-worthy relationship, connection, partnership, whatever, acknowledge that. Acknowledge that. You can tell yourself all day long that you didn't break your leg, but I'm looking at the bone sticking out. So, you might as well just acknowledge you broke your leg. Stop trying to be stoic. Stop trying to be brave. Stop trying to be grand. And just acknowledge, I broke my leg. I did something stupid and I broke my leg. Okay, great. So now that you acknowledge that your relationship possibly is wound-worthy, then what do we do next? Well, we move into what I call the assess and address part of the program. I can't tell how long I've been on. Probably a while. Y'all know how I do. But we got to get this part, all right? So if you're taking notes, if you're not taking notes, run and get a sheet of paper right now. Right now, because I'm going to give you some steps. Steps matter, okay? Give you some things to ponder while you're dealing with this. All right, the first thing, assess and address. Step 1, could we possibly heal together? This is a question you can ask. You can absolutely assess that. Can we possibly heal together? Now, there are some questions that go with this. First question, is there willingness to change? Do you see yourself and the person that you're with as having a willingness to change? That's the most important part. Because if there's no willingness to change, then what do? We can't cultivate a desire to change. We don't want to give them ultimatums. We don't want to do that. And so it's like, well, either you do this or I'm gone. You don't want to start the threatening part of the program. You don't want to bring that energy in. So it may not be, but you can assess that, all right? Additionally, are they making excuses or are they taking responsibility? You know what I say, you can make excuses or progress, but you can't make both. It's just not going to work out. So if by chance you feel as if the pattern of behavior being exploited by your relationship is enabling, look very hard at this behavior. Look very hard. If someone is telling you, I own it, but they're not doing anything about it, then that might be your answer. Or maybe they've tried, they just couldn't stick to it. Maybe they were challenged with discipline, and that does happen, okay? So leave room for somebody to have challenges with changing. There are like 5 stages of change. And so someone may have a challenge, literally, in changing and keeping that and retaining that change. So give just a little space, grace and space. All right, and then the next question is, are they self-centered? Are you self-centered? Do you want the world to revolve around you? Do they want the world to revolve around them? For me, the greatest one is about taking responsibility. Because if somebody doesn't take responsibility for their actions, if they can't say that they're sorry, if you don't see them taking even baby steps to change, to not do this, they could be trying a bunch of things that didn't work, but at least they're trying. If they're just sitting back and just going, well, life is hard. Well, then that's probably not somebody that you can heal with. I know, but maybe it is. Because maybe in the final analysis of your assess and address, you figure out that the relationship is actually fruitful about 80 to 90% of the time. We just have these moments. And listen, I want to say this. I want to definitely say this. I would dare say that everybody in the world exhibits some semblance of codependent behavior. Some semblance of. So don't be so quick to damn yourself with a diagnosis and be like, I'm codependent. No, don't do that. Don't do that. It's very tempting to do that, but you don't have to do that, because everybody has something. So if you've been exhibiting codependent behavior, okay, great. Is it something that you can, and when you look at the information, make sure you look at the recovery pattern, because you may be closer to recovery than you think. So give yourself some credit. Again, Grace and space. Grace and space. All right. So now we've acknowledged, we've gone through our processes of addressing, assessing and addressing. Okay. And this is the part that you do by yourself. So you're just kind of taking it all in, objectively looking at it. You know, how do they react to their mom? How do they react to being corrected? How do they do that? So you're just kind of doing a little bit of an inventory. How do I react to being corrected? How do I act with mom? I mean, you're doing a fair assessment, right? You're assessing and addressing. That's what you're doing. So then now we move into some action steps that if you've decided that this is something that perhaps, did I say it again? Perhaps, that you can heal together, then it's time to ask. And that means that you ask your significant other about this matter and about healing together and what that might look like and what changes they might want to make. And it's not going to be a fun conversation. Let me just go ahead and say that. So what I would recommend is that you set ground rules before you have this conversation, and you schedule the conversation. One of the greatest mistakes that people make is that they try to have meaningful conversation in menial time. And so if I want to just veg out on Netflix and you're like, oh, well, since you're watching TV, let's talk about this very meaningful topic that in our relationship, you're probably not going to get the best response. Why? Because I've turned my brain off and I don't want to think. So this is my menial time. This is my downtime. This is my me time. And here you come. Well, if they love me, we're not doing that conditional mess. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. Ask, hey, babe, there's something I want to talk to you. It's fairly important to me. When might you be up for that conversation? Schedule it. Mark a time. Do not just jump in the middle of halftime going, hey, you know, I think I want to talk about our relationship. That's going to go over real well. And by real well, I mean like a lead balloon. Balloon made of lead, which is very heavy. Okay, great. So then you ask, and based on what that conversation brings to you, the fruitfulness of that relationship, feel free to align. Align with it. Align with where you guys want to go. Create a team name, create action steps, whatever. Align with each other that this is what we're doing. This is honestly how you get your we quotient up. Because now it's about we. We talked about the me, we talked about the he or the she. Now it's time for we. And we are aligning to get this done. We are aligning to develop a team dynamic so that we can heal together and so that we might be able to experience our best love with each other. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yes. So, and then you come see me for premarital. Shameless plug. But anyway. So once you align, you've gotten, you know what you want to do, you know what behaviors we want to attack. And let me say this, do not attack all the behaviors at one time. Find one thing. You know I'm a big, huge proponent of one thing, just one thing, and do that thing, okay? And then once you do that thing until you master it. What is mastery? When it just becomes second nature, when you don't really have to think about it anymore. And so then once you guys master that, then move on to the next thing. If you guys are brilliant and you have the capacity to do more than one thing and you want to try it, feel free, but give each other the space to say, okay, that didn't work well, or that was awesome. Again, there's no absolutes in this camp. So whatever works, emphasis on works. All right, so we acknowledged, we assessed and addressed, and that had its own process. We asked, we were asking. Ask is such a crazy word for me when I'm talking. So you were asking your significant other, they came on board. Now, if you ask them and they don't come on board, you'll have some decisions to make, but you already knew that. So, but let's say for the sake of argument, they say yes, and you guys align, Wonder Twins power activate, form up a functional couple. Psh. So now you begin to attack. You attack that one thing, you attack the plan, you attack everything with fervor and zeal, you attack outdated beliefs and mindsets, you attack anything standing in your way, blocking you from the goals that you set when you guys decided to align. You attack. What you don't attack is each other. Do not attack each other. This is a time for healing and transformation. People will be tender. Emotions will be tender. Hearts will be tender. And if you're dealing with an empath or a highly sensitive person, yeah, space and grace, grace and space. If that's what you're dealing with, then you already know that there will be fairly tender when changes are happening. But again, don't attack each other. Attack the things that have stood in your way. Attack the outdated mindsets. Attack your beliefs as far as what should happen in the relationship. We're bringing in a new season. And so we can't put new wine in old skins. They burst. So we got to get new skins. Just threw a little scripture in there for you. Why not? We liked it. So we attack, but we don't attack each other. And then we get a reward. Although reward does not start with an A, so we're going to get an award. Yay! And what's the award that we get? Well, you are awarded the medal of transformational life, transformational love. You're awarded the medal of healing. You're awarded the medal of authenticity. So many things, so many awards that you will get from this process. Like, you will be awarded many things. And so I want to celebrate that in advance, that that you and your partner may be able to bring this wound-worthy thing into a healed, healthy, and whole thing. And that's amazing, because you are divinely created to live your best life with your best love. And I believe that with all my zeal, all my fervor, every fiber within my being, every fiber in my head wrap. Yeah, I said that. But I believe that. I do believe that so much. So let me see if there are any questions really quickly. I'm looking over. Let me see. Let me look at the other one. Let me see. All right, guys. Well, I think I answered everything. Yeah, from what I see. I answered everything here. So I'm so excited that you've had a chance to take in this class. I hope you took great notes. If you're in a VIP, a one-on-one program, then by all means, let's talk about this during your next session. My name is Stephanie D. McKenzie, and as I always do, I thank you from the bottom of my heart to the top of my head wrap for loving and learning with me.